All right. Okay. Well, welcome to the first tutorial for Matlab. In this tutorial, what I'm going to show you is an introduction to Matlab. Okay, so what is it? Show you a small script, how it all works, show you the interface, the command window, workspace, explain to you what a .m file is, write a small code and just kind of go through that real quick. Okay. Show you how to save it, because you do have to save it correctly. And also the tutorials, if you ever want to just go back and grab the M files as examples. Okay. So what you're going to do first is, if you purchased it or downloaded it or you're using it at a school, you want to go and find Matlab 2022 or whatever version you have, and you want to go to this one. Don't click on activate or deactivate. Okay, we have the 2020A version. Okay, I think they do 2 versions a year, A and B. So as this loads, I actually might have it up already. So I think I have now 2 cases running. So let me shut that one. Okay, so once it loads, what you'll end up having is, if you've already had Matlab scripts open, they'll reopen. And I'll show you how to open one here in a minute, okay? But it should look similar to this. We can actually, why don't we just close both of those? Your screen might be different, and you can go up to layout and you can go up and change the way you want these different. If you click default, this is probably what you will see. Okay, so if say someone somehow got it messed up, go to layout, click default. Okay, so what you have here is you have current folder on the left. Okay, this is where wherever you open up a file, and I'll open up a file here in a minute. This is your command window. This is pretty much kind of like a calculator. So you can do like 4 times 10 and click enter, and it will spit out an answer for you. Okay. I think that, yeah, let me close that version. All right. Over here is your workspace. This will tell you what variables are being used and what the values are. Okay. Right now I ran a code, so it has some stuff. But you can type CLC, that'll clear anything on the command window. If you type clear all, that will actually clear everything in your workspace. Okay, so now it's it's fresh. Okay. Now, what you can do is, again, type CLC. You don't have to worry about that. But if you're making a code to generate a plot or to generate something, you don't want to type in the command window, okay? You actually want to create, and you want to go up to new, and you want to click script or Control N. All right, so this is the script. This is where you can type a bunch of stuff and actually save this script, okay? So what I like to do is I like to pop this out. So if I click this little button over here, and then I go to undock, okay? I kind of like to undock it, and then I can kind of put it on another screen, and I can look at the command window in that as I'm doing things, okay? What I do want to show you is here. I will have a Matlab tutorial zip folder that will have all of just the M files that you can download and open and start using, okay? So from beginner, intermediate to advanced, and those are my suggestions. Okay, so like in beginner, if I open this, this has header format. I'm going to open it. Okay, I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to paste it in the script, and I'm going to blow this up. I'm going to paste it right here. Okay, I always have headers anytime I write a code, no matter what. Okay, and a header, basically, I always put the title, the description, who made it, the school you're working with or company, email, the date, the last time this was modified, things still to do, and any notes. And I always start my code with CLC, clear all, and close all. Now, close all, if you generate a figure, it will close that. Then I always make sure I put my nomenclature. And what is nomenclature? Well, say you use F equals 10. Well, what is F? Okay. We'll go through an example eventually where that can get really tricky. You want to make sure you understand that clearly. Okay. All right. So you have this M file, .m. It's a thing that you can save, and I'm going to go up to here and click Save, Save As. And I'm just going to do it in downloads for right now. Okay. Let's just call it Intro to Matlab. Okay. Now, when you save the files, okay, you have to make sure that you don't start with a number and you don't have spaces. Okay, it will not work. So you make sure it doesn't start with a number and it doesn't have spaces, and I'll save it. So now, every time I type something, I click Save, and I can reopen this later. Okay, I've seen a lot of students, if I go back and I go into the command window and they just type stuff, and then they don't, then they're like, oh, I got to retype it. I'm like, what do you mean? Create a .m or a script that will save your files. Okay. Okay, a few things before I show you kind of an example of what this can do. I always tell students, type VER and enter. This will tell you the version of MATLAB you're using and any toolboxes that you have. Now, I'm pretty sure if you buy, I think the $100 student version, it'll have a lot more toolboxes, okay? These toolboxes are used to help you in different things, okay? Or for example, like data acquisition, I can hook a National Instruments instrument up to this computer with MATLAB, and I can basically use that for data acquisition, where really, it's really reading voltages in. That's the simplest term, okay? So it's kind of like a super advanced multimeter. We also have the instrument toolbox and the symbolic toolbox here at SUNY Canton, okay? Symbolic toolbox is really cool because you can do calculus. You can take derivatives, you can take integrals, you can solve equations symbolically. It's really, really cool, okay? All right, let me make sure I grabbed all of this. Okay, let me show you. This is just a saved script from one of my students that she did experiments in intermediate fluids to create what you're going to see here is a contour map, okay? So this script inputs her data, which is the given, which is lines 25 through 28, okay? X and Y are just coordinates, okay? So X, Y, and dP is the change in pressure, okay? And if you know anything about fluid mechanics, you can use Bernoulli's equation to find the velocity at those specific points, X and Y, if you know the pressure or change in pressure, okay? That's used as a pitot tube. That doesn't matter, okay? But you can see here, we have a header, all right? We have givens, we have find, diagram, assumptions, okay? One thing that's not included was nomenclature, but that's okay, all right? We can put nomenclature in here, meaning what is X, what is Y, what is DP, what is down here on line 41, what is P, T, R, okay? We can actually add that. Why don't we just add it? Nomenclature. So what I like to do is if you type, what is it, Shift 5, okay? Anytime you see these percents, those are comments, meaning the MATLAB, when you run it, and I'll tell you here in a second how you do this, won't run that line, okay? It'll only run the ones with no comments. like this, okay? If the comment is over here, that's fine, okay? It won't run this section, okay? All right, so like X, Y are dimensions, okay? Let's go DP, oops, Shift DP. This is change in pressure, okay? And then you got P, you got T. This is pressure, temperature, okay? And I won't continue just to show you, all right? So we got givens. We typed these in, all right? And again, we're going to go through how you do this later on. I just want to show you an example of what Matlab can do, okay? Down here are some equations, okay? And then we use these commands to plot and make a contour plot. So what you're going to do is once you type something, you need to run the code, or what you're going to do is run each line by line. Okay, so it's going to execute X and it's going to execute Y and DP. Okay, so go up here and you click this little button here, run, and you want to make sure you have that document saved first. And then what happens is this code made this plot, and I'm going to zoom up. Okay. So you have velocity contour map. This is the Canton wind tunnel. You have X down here, sorry, and you have Y over here. So this just created a velocity contour map. I believe these are in meters per second. And it's roughly 6.6 meters per second over here. And it's a little less speed here, 6.15, okay? So this is just an example that I wanted to show you. You're not here yet, definitely not, of what it can actually do, okay? It runs a code that you type manually, line by line, and executes these commands, okay? Cool. So I'm going to close. Actually, let me go up here. Let me dock this, this button, because I want to show you. And you can make these bigger or smaller, these sections. Okay, so here's the script. All right, it's now docked into the interface. Here's our command window. Over here is our workspace. This tells us what the variables that we've defined. You see how we defined X, Y, T, and all of these. And then if you look here, rho and V are equations, and they give you the number, rho and V, okay? So, or if you want to do it, what I like to do is you can either type in V here, or you can type whose, and it will tell you all of the names, how big these values are, and we'll talk about that later, not right now, okay? Or like if you type row, it'll tell you what row is, okay? Okay, so showed you what that is. I showed you the tutorial folder. Correct way to save. Always use a header format. Use a .m to make sure you saved and you can upload these. Okay. Showed you that. Now let's just make a simple code. Okay. So CLC, clear all. You don't have to do this every time. I just like to start fresh. Go up to new, script. Okay. And I think my header format is there. And again, I will have those tutorials in a zip folder for you, either in the description below in the video, or I'll have it somewhere where you can access this, okay? And I can put all of this in here. If you notice, this was a long time ago when I started creating this. The reason I started this is because I picked up after some grad students, and their Matlab codes are a mess. So, all right, let's just create, I don't know, just a simple equation that maybe converts temperature or some sort of unit, okay? just to show you how it works, okay? So I'm going to show you, I'm going to pull this over. That's tutorial 1. Let me go to, I'm going to pull something up and copy that. Courses, Matlab, homeworks, homework 1. Let's do this. It's probably open up here, but I'm going to move this to my other screen. Okay. All right, let's just pick something really easy, okay? Let's say we want to, let's go solution. And we're going to define length in meters. Meters, okay? And I like to put brackets around it. It helps me understand this, okay? And I put, again, this is a comment. We'll put L_M. This is length in meters. Okay. Then we're going to have a conversion factor. Oh, let's do, I'll put a space. Maybe sometimes it's easier to define length. Okay. And then skip a line, define conversion value. So meters to feet, 0.28. So basically saying 1 meter, there is 3.28 feet. Okay. Now, notice, anytime you define a variable, okay, define it, you cannot start it with a number. Okay, and I will show you what you'll get an error. Okay, you have to start it with the variable, and you can't have spaces. Okay, so you can't have something like that. All right, you have to keep it. So I always use an underscore to sometimes define differences. Okay, so up here, put our nomenclature. This is a conversion value. Okay, and then the last one, define. Let's see, or we can just convert. Let's call it that. So length underscore feet. This is where we're going to take the length underscore m, and we're going to multiply it by 2 m2 feet. Okay, and I'll put a semicolon. So a few things in here that you want to remember. Again, I defined a new variable, put it in our nomenclature. This is length in feet. Okay. Can't have spaces to the left of the equal sign. Okay. Or can't start with a number. Okay. Very similar to how you save it. All right. So I defined the length in meters. I defined this conversion factor. And then over here, what I did is I said, well, I'm going to take the value I signed above, okay, and I'm going to multiply it by the conversion factor, which is right here, okay. And if you noticed, I put semicolons at the end here, and I'm going to show you what that means here in a second, okay. So we've written the code. Now let's save it. And again, I'm going to save it here, and I'm going to call it conversion factor. Again, can't start with a number and no spaces. And I'll just say test. I don't care. All right. So I'm going to put this to the side, and I'm going to put that to the side. Okay. All right. So go up here, click run. Now, if you notice over here in your interface for the Matlab, it's like the home base, your current folder is in this folder. I don't know exactly where it is. Okay. I saved this to the downloads folder. So what I like to do is you can either add it to this path. I just say this, let's just change the folder. So now we're in what they call the downloads folder. Okay. So what it did is it went to there, went right to where this file or this .m is saved, and it did line by line. Okay, wherever there isn't a comment. So it ran these, it ran line 30, line 33, and line 36. Okay. Over here, we got the workspace. We have the length in feet, so 9.84. We have meters, and we have the conversion. Okay. Now, if you notice, command window, it's like if you click here, there's nothing. Now, if you take away the semicolon and you run it, it'll actually spit this number to the command window. And you can do this. You can do this for a bunch. Okay. So now it tells me everything. Okay. So the semicolon kind of suppresses it so it doesn't spit to the command window. Okay. Now, there is a way to correctly send this to the command window, and that'll be for a later video. Okay. So say you started with a number. Okay. Okay, it's 1M. Okay, you're going to get an error. Okay, because you cannot start with a number. Okay, and if you noticed, when the error does pop up, look, it'll tell you line 30, column 2. Okay, I like to just say, okay, line 30, there's an issue with this line 30 that I had before. Okay, I'll run it, I fixed it. Okay. So can't start with a number, no spaces on the left of the equal sign. Okay. Again, this is a very simple code, but it's actually a very powerful code because it explains hopefully everything that you're trying to understand what Matlab is. It's a line-by-line code that you program to get it to do something. Okay. All right. Cool. So click run, and boom, you can type L, and if you click tab, you can actually figure out like, oh, there's it pops up, so you can click enter, and it'll tell you what that is. Okay. All right. Let's see if I got everything that I wanted to cover. I think so. So just to summarize, explain how to open up Matlab. We talked about what Matlab is. It's a line-by-line syntax that it runs line by line to do some sort of code or to do it whatever. In this case that I wrote, we're just doing a simple conversion factor. Okay. Showed you the interface. I'll blow this up. Okay, you have your current folder wherever that .m file is. You have your command window. You have your workspace. Okay. Make sure you don't do all your coding in the command window. You want to create a new .m file. Okay. Save that so you can reopen it later and rerun it or fix it or do what you need. Okay. I like to use Matlab a lot for plotting. So creating graphs, a very simple graph, which is a good relationship understanding. Okay. Again, I showed you the tutorials. I'll have a tutorial zip folder that you'll be able to access, that you'll be able to grab .m files so you can just open them up and change what you need. Okay. Make sure you save them. Make sure you define your variables correctly, and always, I'll emphasize this a lot, use a header, okay? Because it will help you in the long run. All right, I hope that explains what Matlab is. Hopefully it's a good introduction, and the next video tutorial will be on matrices and plotting and what that all means. Okay, have a good day, and I'll see you in the next video.